It's Tuesday, February the 14th, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today afternoon update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. We begin with news that the opposition Barbados Labour Party has threatened to take government to court if Parliament passed the Revenue Authority Amendment Bill that was introduced today by Minister of Finance Chris Sinckler. Opposition MP for St. Joseph and former Attorney General Dale Marshall said the measure was unconstitutional and will not get the two-thirds majority required from his side. Marshall is particularly concerned that the provision in the bill which requires persons to pay off all outstanding taxes, interests and penalties before conveying a piece of land would be an additional and unbearable financial burden on poor Barbadians.
I, for one, Mr. Speaker, would bow my head in shame if this Parliament were to allow this bill to pass. Courts eventually determine the constitutionality of legislation. I would urge that the Minister take into account the cautionary views of 12 or 1,400 trained lawyers. 12 or 1,400 trained lawyers who have weighed in on this issue and have said you need to pause. We have doubts about its constitutionality. Mr. Speaker, out of the abundance of caution, we would urge that the Minister, we would urge he withdraws this bill. But knowing that such is not his temperament, and it is not the want of the government benches to do such daring things, we would urge, sir, that this matter be sent to a select committee for careful review.
Now, leading off debate this morning, Minister Sinckler defended the amendments being made to the Revenue Authority Act amidst objections from lawyers and strong resistance from the opposition Barbados Labour Party. Sinckler said it was time to put a stop to those evading their responsibility of paying taxes. Sinckler dismissed suggestions from lawyers that the changes were unconstitutional.
The truth is, it does not abridge any constitutional rights. And it does not prevent the disposal of the land, because in the normal course of transacting business, the banks have worked on numerous occasions with the tax authorities to ensure that these matters are dealt with and resolved. And one has to have some type of faith in the system, that the system will work and work accordingly. Because if you're going to write legislation right down to the very instance, somebody will come up someday and say, oh, but you forgot this particular instance. So you come back and write that into the legislation too. And then when somebody else comes up 2 years after and say, oh, but you know something, we now discovered something, you got to put that in the legislation too. So you will be coming back every week or every 2 weeks to write in some instance. And I can't believe that legislation is designed and has been designed to work in that particular way.
There's been a suggestion from a secondary school teacher and pastor to use religious teaching to counter the growing pornography among young people. Church of God pastor Reverend Lennox Boyce also believes such teaching would treat to the fights among schoolgirls which are posted on social media, as well as disrespect for authority. His recommendation for greater church involvement in education came during a presentation to a Coleridge and Parish School alumni meeting at the school in St. Peter last night.
Education should be focused not merely on passing on useful information, nor just training people for employment, but on the formation of the whole person. We should want to help children to grow, not just to prepare them for work, but to help them to be the best human beings they can be, to help them to realize their true potential in life, and to fulfill the purpose for which God created them. The welfare of the student should be a major concern for educators. And all positive influences upon the child should be encouraged and not banished, especially if the influence is proven to be effective. And so in an age where girl fights are prevalent on social media, where there's a growing disrespect for persons in authority, where pornography and drug use are infiltrating our schools, maybe we need a greater influence of the church in education.
Police are continuing investigations into last Friday's road accident that caused the death of 72-year-old Michael Graves of Hillaby in St. Thomas. Graves was the driver of a car which became involved in a collision with another vehicle driven by Richard Leacock of Silver Hill Christ Church along Green Hill, St. Michael. Now, police are appealing to anyone with information on this accident to come forward. In sport, veteran batsman Marlon Samuels and off-spinner Sunil Narain are the highest-ranked West Indies players in the latest ICC One-Day International rankings released at the weekend. The 36-year-old Samuels lies 28th in the batting rankings, while Narain sits 3rd in the bowling rankings.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's the celebration of agriculture, 50 years and beyond. Come and experience this year's AgroFest exhibition at the historic Queen's Park on February 24th to 26th. Don't miss the African Heritage Month celebrations, the AgroFest Special Edition, an impressive display of leather products made from Barbados' black belly sheep, the best of crop over 2016, and much more. AgroFest 2017. Tickets available at all official box offices.
We're back with news from the region now. Jamaican dancehall entertainer Alkaline has been freed from police custody after being held on a murder charge.
Alkaline, whose given name is Erlan Bartley, was released without charge. He was taken into custody last Thursday after he reported to the police for questioning in connection with a murder. The release was secured by his lawyer, Peter Champagny, who went to the St. Andrew Parish Court on Monday to ask a judge to direct the police to charge the entertainer or release him. The police, on releasing him from the Hunts Bay lockup where he was being held, admitted to not having enough evidence to charge him.
On the global front, U.S. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn has resigned over allegations he discussed U.S. sanctions with Russia before Donald Trump took office. Flynn's resignation as National Security Advisor removes an immediate political headache for the White House, but will do little to dispel suspicions about his ties with Russia that now threaten to envelop President Donald Trump's nascent administration.
Acting Attorney General Sally Yates informed the Trump administration prior to being fired that General Flynn was vulnerable to potential blackmail. In his resignation letter, Flynn conceding that he inadvertently briefed the vice president-elect and others with incomplete information, but falling short of admitting he lied.
And finally, Malaysian police are investigating the sudden death of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's half-brother after he fell ill at Kuala Lumpur airport yesterday.
We have confirmation from the Selangor State Criminal Investigations Department chief. He says that Kim Jong-un's half-brother, the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un's half-brother, died on Monday after he fell ill at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia. The Malaysian police are classifying this incident as a, quote, sudden death, according to this particular source, and they say that this is pending results of a post-mortem investigation. Now, we understand from this police chief that deceased was trying to leave the country and was at the airport. He approached one of the airline counters asking for help as he was feeling unwell, they say. An ambulance was called, but then, according to the police chief, the deceased actually passed away whilst in that ambulance on the way to a hospital.
And that's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, our screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.